And we are coming at you live on YouTube, on Instagram, and LinkedIn today. And we've got the ability to communicate and talk and get everybody's feedback. So thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to show you some new stuff. We have been really moving fast at Strada, and we are getting hundreds and hundreds of people to sign up for the product and try something totally different. And, this is a really good opportunity for us to connect, to answer your questions, to go over stuff, and to actually do some demonstrations. If you know me, I love going over workflow solutions, and this one has been so exceptionally fun. And this one is really disruptive. And if you know me, I've been part of disruptive technologies in the past. This one is the most disruptive. This is going to get people really excited and piss a lot of people off. And so it's really, really awesome to be showing that with you today. And we want to invite you to join the Strada family and join our product. It's free. You can sign up and you can start being part of the disruption yourself. So we're going to get started today. I do this with some great partners here. I've got my brother and co-founder Peter on. He's helping as well. We've got Margot. We've got Austin. We've also got Shannon. She's uncredited. Sorry, Shannon. But we're here to take your questions. Now, again, we're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're on LinkedIn. You can put your questions in. I'm going to get to the demonstration and topics really quick, and then we can answer them. I have an iPad here. I can see the questions fed to me, so I can respond directly to you. These are more fun, more interactive, and more educational if you participate and ask questions. So we invite you to do that. You can start by telling us where you're from. We want to know where you're from. We love to hear what city you're coming in from, and we welcome you to this kind of cloudy Tuesday here in California, Southern California. Okay, let's move on. Now, this is really exciting. We just dropped our latest YouTube episode. If you've been following the Strada YouTube story, we have been telling the story of Strada for almost 2 years. Episode 1 was in May of 2023. That's when we started Strada, and we had no idea what we're doing. Some days I still feel I have no idea what I'm doing, but that's the life of the entrepreneur. You just wake up and you just do what needs to be done. And we just launched episode 41, which is the story of NAB, how we got to NAB, and we ended up winning a Product of the Year award. But also, it's a really interesting story. For those of you who know me, I have been doing product marketing for a long time. I love taking products to market, and I love experimenting with different techniques to bring products to market. And I'm not the best at it. I have learned a few things, but I'm always experimenting and trying to put them together. Well, when you start a startup and you have no money, you have no resources, you have very few customers, it sounds like going to a big trade show. That sounds like a bad idea, bad investment, waste of time. But I think it's worth taking the risk. And so this episode, which just came out on the Strada Tech YouTube channel, is all about how we use little tricks and tips and techniques to get our product to NAB and to make a splash. And if you're a startup, even if you're a filmmaker, these are great tips and tricks on how to get your mission out to people and try to make people care, because that's the whole point, is nobody cares about anything and you got to make them care, right? And that's what it's all about. So check out episode 41. It just came out. It's really great. And there's a special message in there for NAB. If you've been going to NAB, you've actually seen the decline of attendance. It keeps going down. And I love NAB. I've been going for more than 20 years, but I don't like seeing the decline either. And so this is an opportunity for me to get a message to NAB, and hopefully it helps. So you can check out the episode, and I'd love your feedback. Okay, now, last Thursday, we have some friends at a company called KeyCode. KeyCode is an amazing system integrators company. You can buy gear from them. They can set it up for you. They do tech support. They do consulting. They're amazing. Everything about KeyCode is really powerful, really great. And I love the people over there. And they invited us to speak at a event last Thursday. And we did a panel. That panel was amazing. It was one of my favorite panels I've ever been on, really. It was really great. And Jeff Singpeel asked some great questions. We had Michael Kamas on it. And then also a gentleman from Buddha Jones, which is a trailer company. You've seen Buddha Jones's work. It's unbelievable. It's incredible. And we had an awesome panel. And so we're going to put that on our YouTube very soon. So stay tuned for that. But I posted some pictures on LinkedIn, and this was really interesting. Steve Crouch, an old friend of mine, he wrote something really interesting. And then Adam Lee. See, I was talking, and it ties into the conversation we're going to do today, which is about the cloud. And maybe the cloud isn't all it's cracked up to be. What if the cloud isn't the best solution? And this is something Steve wrote. People need to realize that using AWS is like sleeping with the enemy. Steve's words. They offer so many enticing treats, but distort the market in their favor on big, juicy deals. I agree with that. If Strada is an alternative, take it. Well, we like hearing that. And then Adam Lee says, yes, the shine is really coming off the cloud. And I really want to highlight that. Clouds are not bad. I wouldn't say cloud is truly the enemy. There's so many valuable things about cloud, but the shine is coming off because we're starting to learn a couple of things about the cloud. And we believe that when you think about video, you can't afford to just put everything in the cloud. And Strada is all about you becoming your own cloud. We have built a technology that allows you to turn almost any hard drive into a cloud in 1 second. It's so fast, it's so powerful, it's so easy, and it allows you to simply connect a drive, and then it's a cloud so you can share it. And there is no AWS in that equation. It's totally different, and it's really, really powerful. Here's why I think Steve is right about his criticisms of the cloud. See, the cloud is great for watching video, right? When you're watching video, everything from YouTube to Netflix is amazing because the files are optimized. They're relatively short, an hour or two, and it's perfect for most of the world's bandwidth. So when you're going to watch a final video, the cloud's amazing. You can't beat it. But here's the problem. The cloud was never built to work with video. When you're working with video, you have what's called a shooting ratio. And a shooting ratio on a podcast might be 2-to-1. Pretty low shooting ratio. Not that bad. But on a television show, it might be 100-to-1. On a big feature film, it might be 200-to-1. And on a documentary, it might be 500-to-1. That means there are 500 hours of material to create 1 hour of final result. That does not work in the cloud. If you work in nonfiction and you do a lot of documentaries, or you work on projects with lots of cameras or long interviews, the cloud is killing you, right? It's killing you because you can't upload everything, you can't find everything, and you can't store everything up there. Now, products like Frame.io and Shade and Suite Studios and even LucidLink, they're really good at working with proxy files. But the problem is when we talk to people, tell me if this is familiar, we find that most people store 90% of their files on a hard drive and only 10% in the cloud. Some people, 95% of files live on a hard drive and only 5% live in the cloud. And so the point is, when we talk about video, most of your video is on a hard drive anyway. Plus, almost nobody can afford to put raw files in the cloud. They're too big, right? Like, think of these problems right here. The problem with the cloud is, one, your camera files are too big. Alexa 65, the new 265 camera, shoots over 2 terabytes. I think it's 2.6 terabytes an hour. Now, I know not everybody has an Alexa 65, but a lot of people are buying the Blackmagic Ursa, the 6K, the 12K, sorry, the 6K. The 6K Pixis, now there's the 12K 65 camera. These are terabyte an hour files, right? Every camera company from Red to even the Sony FX3 is shooting really big files. And those files, when they're especially raw files, are too big to put in the cloud. You can't afford to put a terabyte an hour in the cloud. Now, the other problem is your internet's too slow. The average internet upload speed in the United States is 30 megabits per second. That's it, 30. And so we don't get a lot of upload speed. Plus, if you know a lot about internet service providers, they always favor download speeds. So your download might be 3, 4, 500 megabits, but your upload might be 10, 20, or 30 megabits, 1/10 of the download speed, right? That's one of the problems with this. And when you have video and you need to get it in the cloud, how are you going to upload it? It's the video's too big and the internet's too slow. Now, let's just say your camera files are small and your internet speed is great and you can put it up there. Well, the cloud's too expensive because it can cost $20, $30, $40, $50 a month to store the file in the cloud. And that's per month, and you have to rent it. When you break down the math, the storage costs of cloud are 40 times more expensive than storing things on a hard drive. That's how big a difference there is. When you buy a hard drive, a terabyte on a hard drive is 40 times cheaper than a terabyte in the cloud. So even if you have great bandwidth and you don't have a high shooting ratio, you can't afford to put files in the cloud because it costs too much and you have to rent it every month, 12 months a year for years and years and years. That's why we all have closets full of hard drives, because we got to keep them somewhere, right? And that's what we want to address today. Strada doesn't, we don't want to we can't really change this, right? And here's one more thing you can think about this important topic. Camera companies, internet companies, and cloud companies, they're all different companies. So you have independent interests with these businesses, and they all are trying to do their own thing. That's not good for video. That's really not going to help us because you can't convince any of these companies to help us. That's why Strada Agents was born. We are turning your hard drives into clouds so you don't have to worry about uploading them. You don't have to worry about storing them. And we are able to dynamically change the bandwidth and the bit rate depending on how much internet speed you have. So it's really, really great to be able to make this work. And we invite you right now, go to strada.tech and you can start. You can download the Strada agent, and I'm going to show you how that works now. So how we make this work is you have to install a Strada agent. An agent is a little application that runs on your computer in the background, and it makes all this magic possible. Now, the only requirement is this only works on Apple Silicon computers. It has to be the new Apple chips, M1, M2, M3, M4. We think we're going to get an M5 real soon. M1s are on the outside. They're kind of the oldest computer. They're almost 5 years old. So that's sort of on the weaker side. M2s are pretty reliable. 3s are really good. The 3 Ultra, amazing. And M4s and maybe M5s coming really soon. So you need to have Apple Silicon. Once you download the Strada agent, you install it, and you can see here on my screen, when you install it, you get this little icon at the top of your screen. There's the little Strada icon. And then you're able to see all these different directories. These directories can independently be turned on and off. By clicking a checkbox, you instantly turn a directory into a cloud. On and off, that quick. It becomes cloud accessible. Then at the bottom here, we see external drives. Here you can have a RAID. You can have a soft mounted drive like LucidLink. You can have a small drive like a SanDisk or a camera card. All of those are external volumes. Volumes or drives can be independently turned on and off and instantly turned into clouds. And so you're taking everything from a camera card to a SAN, to a NAS, to a RAID, to a thumb drive, and you're allowed to make it into a drive and then make it shareable. This little dock, this little tool is so easy. You just turn things on and off and you have cloud access. And then 3, you log in on a different computer to strada.tech, and now you can access those drives. So your agent should run on a computer that's always connected to drives that you want to be a cloud, right? And if you think about what's a cloud? A cloud is your files on someone else's hard drive. So we're saying, why can't it be your files on your hard drive? But here's the caveat. You have to keep the cloud online, right? So you got to keep these drives plugged in. And these computers today, computers are designed to run without stopping. They're designed to run without shutting down. You often don't have to reboot them. You can go months without rebooting sometimes. And so this is an opportunity for you to configure a Strada agent running on an Apple Silicon computer that's connected to your drives all the time. Then you can log in with any computer and see those files. That's how Strada works. So I'm going to show a demonstration of how this works right now. And to do this demonstration, I want to show you something kind of fun. Here you can see is a live YouTube. This is a webcam of a YouTube. And you can see it's live right now. And if we look at the time of day, here it says 9:16. And if you can see on my computer, it's 9:16 in the morning. So it's the same time. Oh, it just switched to 9:17. So this computer is now 9:17. So we could see this is a live YouTube image of a computer that's not my computer. That's not the computer I have in front of me. I'm looking at a computer off-site. Now let's see what we got here. Well, what do we have here? Well, we've got it's 9:17 in the morning, so it's real time. We've got a hard drive here. This is a G-Tech G-RAID mirror. So this is now our G-RAID. This is an 8 terabyte G-RAID using Thunderbolt 4. Over here, we can see a red camera mag. This is actually from a red camera. So you can see the red camera there, and the card is plugged in. So I can see a card right there, little red light. And then we can also see here, there is a LucidLink icon. My LucidLink file space is called Strada, but it's actually my LucidLink. And if you're familiar with LucidLink, it's a cloud system that allows editors to move their files through the cloud so they can do remote editing through cloud services. So that's LucidLink. And then I even have, it says FX3 SD. I even have an SD card plugged into the computer, which is tied into the computer. And then if you look really closely, it's really small, but right there is the Strada logo. That's the agent. So the Strada agent is running on this computer. This is an M2. So this is not that new of a computer. It's 3 years old. It's not that fast compared to today's M4s. This is an M2, and I've got Lucid, the G-RAID, I've got the camera card, and an FX3 SD card. And the last thing here is we can see we only have 11 megabits of internet. Now think about this. 11 megabits, not that much, right? That's pretty bad. That's pretty poor internet. So what I'm going to show you doesn't require good internet either. So this is all happening live. So we can see this. So Wes Givens on YouTube says, how does Strada differ from a NAS system? Well, I'm going to show you, because a NAS system cannot do what we're about to do, which is access files remotely. So think of this G-RAID here, Wes, could be a NAS. It could be a NAS. It doesn't matter. Also, a NAS system can only access itself. I know that sounds weird, but you can only access what's on the NAS based on what's on the NAS. But with Strada, remember, the agent, you can connect multiple files together, right? Multiple volumes. So you can see everything, because nobody has everything on one drive. West, you know it. You have a NAS. You've got a lot of footage on there, but there's always going to be another drive, another jump drive, another camera card, another SD card, another USB stick, right? Another rugged drive. Those are all going to have different assets, and Strada doesn't care where they are. So check this out. I am now going to switch to Strada here. I'm going to hide this. And if you look here in the upper left, this says Strada Demo Agents. Strada's MacBook Pro. And right here, what you're seeing in this is just running Chrome. You can see this is just running Chrome. I can see the Strada MacBook Pro. I can see the camera card, the FX card, the G-RAID mirrored, and the LucidLink file directory. So West, this is the big difference. I can see these assets and I can remote into them. Watch this. I'm going to move this over here, and I am going to go into a folder here, and you can see the light just started blinking because I am remoting into this hard drive. This hard drive is not my computer. This is separate. I'm going to go into a file here, and I'm going to start playing it back, and you're going to see the drive begins blinking because I'm playing this file off of this drive, but I can do this from anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. because I've turned this drive into a cloud. And as long as I have permission to access it, I can play the files back. I can browse the entire file structure. So look at, I can see every folder that's on this drive. I can look at everything that's in it and go into these files and play them back. And so it's an incredible way to be able to see that. Now, remember, we talked about the bandwidth. We talked about the quality of internet that we have here, which isn't that good. So I want to show you something really crazy. Remember, we have 11 megabits internet. Okay. Now, if you see right here, I have a folder of ProRes clips. These ProRes files are ProRes XQ. ProRes XQ is almost 1,500 megabits per second. Okay. That's 1.5 gigabits per second. But the internet upload is only 11. How can you do this, right? Check this out. I can look at these files. Look at the size of these files. 23 gigs, 29 gigs, 26 gigs, 36 gigs. Now imagine if you have 36 gigabyte ProRes files. You all have that. How long is it going to take you to upload? It's going to take hours. This whole directory here is like 200 gigabytes. How long would it take you to get 200 gigabytes of files to someone else to review? In Strada, it takes zero time. There's zero time. Watch this. This file, I'm going to load into Strada, and I am playing it back off of this hard drive, and I'm not uploading anything. Nothing's being uploaded to the cloud. This is that idea that Adam was saying on LinkedIn, that the shine of the cloud is wearing off. Look at what we're doing here. We're playing back a file. I can play this even full screen. I'm playing back a file, and I can do it off this drive, and it's 36 gigs. If I click this next file next to it, look how fast. Now we're playing the next file. Here's another drive, a file that's 23 gigs. Now I'm playing that file. Here's a file that's 29 gigs. Now I'm playing that file. But I'm doing this all remotely. I can do this across the ocean. There's no reason this doesn't work across the ocean. So this is showing you something you've probably never seen before. We're playing enormous files that are 1,000 megabits per second, 1,500 megabits per second, and we're playing them over 11 megabit internet. This should be impossible. You can't play ProRes on 11 megabit internet, yet we're doing it right now. And I'm even able to play it back high speed. So if I switch to 8x speed, I can even play the file back at high speeds if I need to do that. So it's really, really powerful. Now, that's playing big files. Very, very cool. Well, what if I have a lot of files? There wasn't many files in that directory. So check this out. I'm going to click on this directory. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to click on this directory, and I want you to pay attention here because I'm going to load 600 takes from scratch. So I'm going to click on this. Watch how fast this is. So this is an example of a directory that's full of hundreds of takes, 600 takes. And that was it. And that quickly, you can see how fast all these takes are here. So there's 600 takes here. If I just click on any one of them, it'll start playing. If I go to the next one, it'll start playing. The next one, it'll start playing. Next one, right? So I'm now browsing 600 takes here of files. And you can see that is not cached. It's not uploaded. None of these files exist in a cloud. They only exist on the G-RAID hard drive that I have right here. So this is another powerful way to work where we don't worry about how many files are in a directory. William Lang on Zoom says, when can you add users to clients? William, hang on. I'm going to get to that in a second. I want you to hang on. Ailey Mendonca. I don't want to say that wrong. Ailey, I apologize if I said that wrong. On Instagram, you asked, can I only share a specific folder inside an SSD? And so I will demonstrate here that we are able to control how you get access. So when you have a Strada agent running, Eli, you are able to give yourself full access because it's your drive. So you have access to everything. That's why when we look at this, you can see you can give access to your desktop, your downloads, your music, all that stuff. That's for you. But when you're going to add collaborators, you're going to invite people. then you can control what they're invited to, and you can make that a folder or a drive. And I'll show you that in a second. So we'll come back to that. So we just demonstrated a couple of things. We demonstrated ProRes files, which are too big to play over the internet, yet we did it. We demonstrated a lot of files where we loaded a ton of assets into a directory, and we're able to play those files, even if there's hundreds and hundreds of them. What about files that are really long? Well, check this out. If I go to this folder called interviews, I'm going to load an interview here, and you can see based on the time code, the interview here is actually about 20 minutes long. You can see it goes for 20 minutes. And what's really cool about this is Strada can just skip to the end and watch this. No buffering. Click, and now I'm at the end. Go to the middle, click, now I'm in the middle. Go to the beginning, click, now I'm at the beginning. 250 milliseconds of latency. That's basically the blink of an eye. I can click and go to the next part. If I click on an entirely new interview, this interview is about a half hour long. I can click on the end. We're at the end. Click in the middle. We're in the middle. Click in the beginning. We're in the beginning. See, this is, you can see the haze, much more hazy, much less hazy. You can see how much time went by because the hazer came and went, right? So the point is, we have the ability to actually skip even long files. So the fact that a file is big, like ProRes, doesn't matter. Strada Agents works. The fact that your folders have many files in them, not a problem. Strada Agents works. Or the fact that your files are long, like hour-long interviews, doesn't matter. Strada just works. I can take this interview, I could put it in 8K playback or 8x speed, and now it's playing back at 8 times speed. And I can do that. I could play it back at 2x speed or 4x speed or 1x speed. So this is the beauty of everything that we've put together with agents. It's very, very versatile. Now we mentioned here we had some other types of media. Here is a camera card. Now that director on Instagram says, is the Strada performance the same with raw files like R3D? Okay, so here's one of the problems. We cannot yet debayer raw files. In fact, no product today debayers raw files in a browser. Web browsers can't debayer. So we have to do some really clever things to make raw files work, because you can't play raw files in Chrome and Firefox and Safari, right? So what we are doing is working on that. Now, here is an actual Red Camera magazine. And if you remember, I'll show this. Remember, we had a Red Camera magazine here. You can see the magazine right there. If I were to click on the magazine and go into a file and start playing it, you can see the red light started blinking, right? Because now I'm accessing that file, and now I'm playing back the actual log file on that camera. So you can see here that Strada does not debayer raw files. So that's one of the limitations of the technology. Here's an actual R3D. So here's the R3D. I can't see that, but Red cameras can shoot raw plus proxy files. So there's a ProRes file alongside. So here I can scrub through the ProRes file. I'm playing this right off the camera magazine. So think about this. If you really need to get files reviewed and you're a DIT on set, just plug in the media. You can share that media. The files can be viewed anywhere in the world from the card itself. That's pretty crazy when you think about it. Pretty exciting. And so, yeah, that's pretty cool. So you can do that. Now, we will work on raw support. But if I needed to share this file, that was something William was asking about. Well, let's see how we could actually share the file. So I want to, you can see right now, red files are unsupported. We don't support R3Ds, but that's something that we want to hear from you, that you want access to something like that. So I want to show the sharing, but before I do, I also want to show this. Remember, on the computer here, we also had LucidLink. So are there any LucidLink users out there? If you're using LucidLink, I think one of the ways that you're using it is you're putting files in Lucid Link, but then you're localizing those files. You're pinning them, or you're downloading them to your local cache. So you're probably not actually editing off the cloud. You're using Lucid Link's cloud to move files, but you're probably not editing off them. Well, this is pretty cool. I can have a Lucid Link connection there. This is actually my Lucid Link drive in Strada. And if you see here, I can go in these files, and now I'm playing files off Lucid Link, and you can see how fast I can scrub and click between these files. This is faster than doing it in the Finder, and Lucid Link doesn't have a front-end player, so we love Lucid Link, and this gives us an opportunity to deliver a front-end playing experience because I'm playing these files directly off Lucid. So anything that's in my Lucid Link directory, I can now instantly view and see and share and watch. So this is really, really powerful for the Lucid Link space. Yeah. So that director on Instagram came back and said, excited to see what the workflow workaround would be with red files since Strada can't handle RAW. Well, I just kind of showed that. I just want to make sure you get that. If you're shooting RAW and RAW is important to you, then you really should be using cameras that shoot RAW and proxy files together. Now, here's the funny thing. Arri, which some people believe makes the prettiest camera, they're the only camera that doesn't shoot proxy files, which I think Arri kind of screwed up on. I think they made a big error on underestimating the value of proxy files and overestimating people are just fine transcoding all day long. It's really going to hurt their business going forward. Outside of Arri, almost Arri makes great cameras and their pictures are beautiful, but I'm talking about the workflow here, right? Almost all the other cameras have proxy plus RAW. Red is one of those. So red files, I can shoot RAW files like this 8K file, and I can shoot a ProRes proxy at the same time. And so Sony's can do this, Canons can do this, Fuji can do this, Red can do this, and it's really the way you work. If you want an efficient workflow with RAW files, shoot a proxy, and then the proxy file is instantly shareable on Strada. And it's literally a free way to view the files because you don't have to transcode it. So it's instant, which is really great. So that's really exciting. So RAW and proxy together, that makes RAW files work. And I'm literally browsing the whole magazine and playing the files back. Now these proxies are log encoded, so they're not colored. So if you wanted some cameras, you can add the LUT to the proxy. You could do that in Red cameras if you want. You could do that in Sony and Fuji and Canon. So you can make a colored proxy and then a RAW file. And that's the way I would do it. Okay, so I want to go back to William because William's been patiently waiting. How do we do sharing? Well, I want to show the sharing experience. And the way we're going to describe this, these are features that are coming. But I have really good news. These features are not far away. They're really close, like really close. I mean, it's just really close. That's why it's really important that you sign up for Strada and you join us because you're going to get access to these features really soon. Plus, if you're a user of Strada, then you can join our Discord. Pete, if you wouldn't mind putting a link to the Discord, we'll come back to that again a little later. But we have a Discord server, and we'd love for you to join it because if you're on the Discord, you can tell us what features you want first. Let me be clear. I told you at the beginning of this episode that we launched a new YouTube episode, and we have a YouTube channel where we're telling everybody how we're building this business. It shows our failures, our successes, our changes, our adaptations, all that stuff. In other words, we are building this company in public, and we are relying on you to help us get it right. So the Discord server is one of the ways that we get your feedback so that we can build this product right. If you just watch this and you say, oh, I'll try Strada someday, that doesn't help either of us. Because one, I don't get your feedback. And two, you don't get the features you need. You got to sign up. It's free. We're not charging for that. We don't even ask for your credit card. You sign up and then you can try Strada and then you can join the Discord and you can give us feedback so we know what features you want next. All right. So I'm going to show you the features that you all wanted next, and they're literally weeks away. They're so close. I can't wait to give them to you. So the first feature that's coming is the ability to invite people. Now, earlier, someone asked, how do I only share certain things with people? Can I share? I don't want to share everything with people. We understand that. So check this out. If you see here, this is Kira's MacBook Pro. She's shared with herself the desktop, the download. She's got a LaCie drive, a SanDisk, and this socials directory. She wants to share just the socials. And so she's going to do that. She can click on the 3-dot menu and hit invite. Now, once she hits invite, she can select just specific people that she wants to invite only to the socials files, and she doesn't want them to see anything else. So here you can see she added Austin and Margot, and now they have the ability to view. This is kind of like a Google Doc where you can give people view mode or edit mode, and it's kind of like that. So we see Austin was invited by Kira to see the socials folder. So now what we're going to do is switch to Austin's computer. Well, when we switch to Austin's computer, you can see this is now Austin's computer. He does not have an agent connected, which is fine. You don't have to. You do not have to have an agent to receive files. You only need an agent to turn drives into clouds. If Austin is just a recipient, then William, he only sees shared with me. He sees Kira's MacBook Pro, so he knows where the share came from, who it came from, and then he sees just socials. And if he clicks on that, now he can see all the files that were shared with him from Kira from the socials directory. So now Kira sent Austin just a section of socials material. Okay, now what about downloading? That's the next thing that's coming really, really soon. If Austin has permission to download, he can click download, and now we have got a download experience coming from these files, and we're moving the files that way. Okay, now this is really important, William. There's a couple of things happening here. First, everything that I'm showing right here, we are on track to deliver in early June. So it's not that far away. And for users of Strada that are on our Discord, you might get it even earlier than that. So you can, sign up and get on the Discord. You might get early access. Now, this is my favorite part about this. Everybody needs to send files. But normally when you send files, you have to use a file transfer service. If you're using a file transfer service, then you have to upload files to that service. Aspera, WeTransfer, Massive, or even Google Drive, Dropbox, and Signient. Those are all transfer services that people pay for. And there's so many times that you just need to send one file to someone, and it's hard. It sucks because you have to have that service. You have to pay for that service. You have to upload a file to that service. You have to get a link, and then you have to send that link to the recipient. Strada eliminates all of that. All that goes away. Why? Because Strada is one of the only products in the world where the recipient can initiate their own transfer. See, if you give permission, in this case for Austin, to go to the socials folder, he can download whatever he wants. Plus, a lot of transfer services, they cannot preview the files before they've been transferred. What good does that do, right? Because some of us have received bad transfers that are missing files, incomplete transfers, or files that transferred that you didn't even need, which wasted time on the upload and the download. We eliminate that. Why? Because you can preview your files. You can select the ones that you want. You even see here something like star. So you could make your favorites and select your favorites and only download your favorite files. And when you do this, it's a peer-to-peer download. What peer-to-peer means is it's point-to-point. The sender's computer, the agent, and the receiver. There's no cloud service in the middle. So you don't have to go up to the cloud to go down to the receiver. The receiver just pulls it right from the agent. So it's faster. And we did some tests last week, and our initial tests were able to fully saturate the pipe. Now, we haven't tried every possible file to transfer, but we moved multiple gigabytes and we saturated the pipe, which means Strada is able to fully leverage a lot of bandwidth to move the files as quickly as possible. And because you don't have to upload them first, and because you don't have to send them, you can just pull them. All of this experience is faster, and it's better, and it's cheaper because there is no cloud service that's required. So you can send files even to people you don't know. If you get an email and someone says, hey, I need you to send, Jane and Jack this file, just get their emails and give them access to that folder. And then they can get it whenever they want. And you're done. And you don't have to upload anything. It's really, really cool. So that director asks, where does Strada fit in the pipeline in relation to Frame.io Camera to Cloud? Very cool. Well, if you think about it, what's cool about this is one of the things that's powerful is we are able to get Camera to Cloud this way because the proxy files are instantly available on the card. So every camera, you just plug it into a DIT station, it's instantly available. And so you have a Camera to Cloud experience instantly. And so that's really powerful. Another benefit to this is that we adjust the bit rate of the file based on your bandwidth. See, in Frame.io Camera to Cloud, you have to choose a select bandwidth. In Strada, it doesn't matter. These could be ProRes files and they would still play back. In Frame.io Camera to Cloud, ProRes is too big for Camera to Cloud in almost all situations. So there's more variety and more flexibility with Strada's version. No one on YouTube says, can I download individual files or clips instead of the whole folder? 100%. You could just individually pick one file and download it. That's totally fine. No one. You could just pull any file that you want and just grab a file. Or if you wanted to share one file, just make a folder on your hard drive and share one folder. And that's it. One file in one folder. And then they could get just the file that way. So that's really powerful. Okay. So we just showed what's coming in early June. And that is the invites and the downloads. That's coming. But check this out. What's also coming very soon is the ability to leave feedback. So now you'll be able to leave comments on assets, but the assets are on people's desks. Think about that. Like you can make comments and give feedback. Now, the reason this is so profound is because in products like Frame.io, you have to upload assets to Frame.io in order for people to make comments. And so every time there's a new version, you have to upload version, upload a version, upload a version. Then you get comments, But in Strada, there's no upload. So you can send every possible version to different departments and you don't have to wait for uploads and they don't have to download on their end either. So for example, if you have an editor, colorist, sound mixer, composer, and animator, that's 5 different departments. I believe that we spend so much time uploading files that if we are able to eliminate one upload per department, that's 5 uploads across editing, sound, color, composer, and animation. If we are able to get one more round of review because of this elimination of uploading, that's a better project, right? One more round of review across 5 departments, that's a lot of improvements. And so we're not saying that this technology is fast so you can shorten your schedule. It's fast so you can do more in the same schedule, right? That's better. That is the pursuit of creative control, is to have more time to revise and make improvements, and eliminating uploads and giving that flexibility and allowing people to access whatever they want whenever they need it. That should improve creative control. So feedback comes in Strada very soon, and you can type in your notes. And if you look really closely here, check this out. Here you can actually see 2. This is something very different than the other products. Even Frame.io doesn't have this. We can send direct messages directly to collaborators. That's a comment to a person in a DM, not a global comment. Look here. Here I can see Margot makes a comment to Haley. That's a global comment. Austin to Haley. That's a global comment. But up here, Kira sent a message to Haley and Austin, and it's a DM. Only she can see this. And the lock says it's a direct message. So when you want to have direct messages and comments that are specific to people, you just type their name in and you get their name. Everybody else can see the global comments as indicated by the globe. So this is a really powerful way to give feedback, and it's faster, it's more accurate, and it's more secure because you're able to control who sees the files. Now, West on YouTube says, apologies, I had to step away. Can you explain how Strada is different than my NAS? Oh, West, Come on. Okay. Strada is different than your NAS because your NAS can only see what's on your NAS, right? Remember, Strada agents can connect every drive, every single drive, not just your NAS, but your USB and your G-RAID and your LaCie drive and your local hard drive, but also it can connect to the hard drives of your collaborators, to your other people, right? So when you see this, look at this, Wes. Here's another thing is Strada agents allows you to make comments, right? So you're making comments on files. NASA's don't do that. You're also able to make messages. Strada is going to deliver Strada messaging. So teams that are struggling with communication, some of you use WhatsApp, some of you use email, some of you are constantly using text message, and some of you pay a lot for Slack. But with Strada messages, you can actually have groups. You can see here groups, or you can DM people and you can write messages and you can include links to things. So this is a very powerful way to invite creatives and collaborators and freelancers to communicate in one app. So you're messaging in one app instead of a dozen apps. You are commenting in one app instead of having to share that. And you're downloading in one app. So you're able to download and access. So West, your NAS doesn't have a way to invite people to it. Your NAS is really just for you and people that are hardlined into it or on the same network. But Strada takes your NAS and makes it available to other people so they can access specific directories that you want them to have. When it's all said and done, Wes, it looks like this. This is the vision that we are going to achieve this summer. Here you can see we're in Haley's MacBook Pro. We can see all these files. So one of these is a NAS, but some of these are not NASs. So you have all these files are accessible on the road, meaning West, you could be traveling and have access to your NAS, everything on it, play those files back on hotel internet. I mean it. Hotel internet. Look at this. This is a demonstration. This is a screen recording. I recorded this a few weeks ago. This is a demonstration of a file running on a NAS in Sydney, Australia. That's 7,500 miles away from where I am. If I play this file back, I am able to access that NAS 7,000 miles away. I'm able to see the assets and browse the assets of that NAS remotely. And I'm even able to play back files that are ProRes 4K. Look at that. So 40 gigabyte file on a NAS. That's 1,500 megabits per second. And I'm able to access that file and play it back locally in 4K. And there's no upload. I'm literally streaming assets from that NAS directly to me, and I'm able to play it back anywhere in the world. This is a total breakthrough. And I'm doing this over 1.2 megabytes per second. That's roughly 10 megabits per second. We're taking huge ProRes files, playing them back over 10 megabits. That's why this works over hotel internet. We did a demo today or yesterday with ProRes XQ files to a guy who was in an airport lounge, and he was able to play back ProRes 4K files from California, and he was in the JFK Delta Lounge. And that's a true story. So that's how powerful this becomes. So you can see here, you've got Haley's MacBook Pro, you've got all these drives connected, and then you see down here, shared with me. I have a facility SAN shared with me. I have Austin's computer, and he shared 2 folders and 1 drive. And so you see, West, it's all about a federated way of sharing media. In other words, there are people with agents everywhere because every collaborator makes their own asset, right? The idea that everything's on your NAS is a myth because it's not. Because there's an animator who made a new file, and a sound department that made a new file, and a composer that has a new file, and an art department that has a new file, right? All those people make files. They're not on the NAS. How do you get them? Well, you can just access them through Strada. And if you want to move them, sure, you can move them, but you might not even have to. You could just play, review, comment, and message all in place. All in place. It's a completely disruptive way of working. by decentralizing everything. It's really powerful. Okay, Cindy Delgado on Instagram. Thanks for joining, Cindy Delgado. You say, can I see who have downloaded my files? Is there a report to make this control? Ah, okay. All right, you're ahead of me here. I'm going to show you. I have this. I don't want this one. No, sorry. I want to show you. Here we go. Okay. So this is the answer to your question, sharing files. So here, if we share a file in Strada, so for Cindy Delgado, this is coming. This is coming. But you can see here, I can send links. And when I share the link, there it is. Here you can see, here I shared a file and I have a link to that. I can turn that link on and off. I can see if it's been viewed, and I can even quick copy a checksum. Here I sent a whole folder, and here a series of files. And I can see the link here has been disabled after the views, so that link is off. But this link of 3 files is still on, and I have a one-touch kill switch right here if I wanted to do a kill switch on this. And then I can copy the checksum if I wanted that receipt. So your receipt here, Cindy Delgado, is your report if the file's been transferred. And so this is how you can manage the performance on that. And you can see here, this is broken down by agent. So this was Kira's agent. This was a Studio Mac. And then here's a different computer. So these are broken down by which agent shared which assets. Seth on IG, this is not a question, but I think about the net savings in bandwidth, the ability to preview a file and only download what I need. Game changing. No other platform offers that. Thank you, Seth. You're absolutely right. I agree with you. That's Director on YouTube. I'm sorry. That's Director on Instagram says, I assume we get notifications whenever something's added or an element is left. You would not get a notification when something's added because there'll be thousands of ads every day on a network. You would get a notification if someone wants to @ you, like if they want to ping you, or you get a notification if they write you a message here. So if I sent you something specific, that's Director, I would just type that in here and you'd get a notification like that. And if I sent you a review link, you would get an email, and that email would give you the review link information. So we're not going to ping you for every asset because that would be a ping every few seconds, but you can ping each other through these pretty useful ways. Mark Lyle Douglas on Instagram says, for those of us working for streaming platforms, how does this pass content security teams? Well, Mark, the first thing that's really cool is in terms of security, none of this is in the cloud. Think about that. So much of the cloud security that's had to be created is because of the cloud. This is not on the cloud. The files are never moved. They're never uploaded, right? And you have these killer kill switches, and there's nothing more powerful than a kill switch of the actual agent, because the hard drive right here, all those files, it's a hard drive. See, if there's files on a cloud and you want to like delete them, they're not really deleted, right? They're not deleted. It's really hard to delete files in a cloud, and they kind of stay there in some cases for years. And so in the Strada space, it's a hard line. You can literally unplug the drive. There's no essence of the file in the cloud. It's never in the cloud. So it's actually more secure in that you can't access the file unless you can go to the hard drive. And if you send a review link, I've shown there are ways to kill those links, which are really powerful. So you can kill the link, you can disconnect the drive from the agent, or you can just pull the drive offline. There's nothing more secure than that. That's literally an air gap that you can instantly activate if you needed to. So it's very, very powerful in that sense. In terms of our streaming, we're end-to-end encrypted with 128-bit. So there is security there. And then we use a traditional, very popular OAuth authentication service that's used to activate your account and log in. And we'll be adding 2FA to that. So those are some traditional things. And the last thing I'll say to Mark Douglas, I've been part of teams that have built TPN security and SOC 2 security credentials before. We know what that is. We've done it before. We do not have the badges for those today because they're expensive and they're slow, and we're a startup. And so we're focusing on velocity and we're conserving money, right? But based on that, we know the ropes, so to speak. So there'll be ways for us to make sure that we get those badges in the future. That's director says, in terms of collaboration, are we able to open a shared project file like Resolve that's hosted on a Strada drive? You know what? You could be the first to try that. I have no idea. I have no idea. That is how new this is. And once we add sharing, which is weeks away, you got to sign up today. Everyone should be signing up for Strada today because we want you to join the product. So you should sign up today, and then you can try that as soon as we have sharing. Heyman, I think it's Jamin on Zoom says, is a platform like Lucid a direct competitor to Strada? And if so, what are 1 to 2 major differences? That's a great question. On the one hand, yes, we are a competitor to Lucid because we offer people the ability to get access to files to edit. If you are using Lucid and you're localizing the files, pinning them, there's no reason not to use Strada. Strada is better than Lucid if you're pinning files because Strada doesn't require you to upload anything. So you asked for 2 major differences. 1, we don't upload anything to a cloud, so that's a faster way for you to access it than LucidLink. And 2, we can play back files that are bigger than files in LucidLink. Almost everybody puts proxy files in LucidLink. In Strada, you don't have to do that. You can play back ProRes 4K files. And so we have access to a wider range of files. And 3, we provide a player. As you've seen here, this is my LucidLink space. I can go into LucidLink and I can see files play back. And so being able to play back files is really powerful, not requiring LucidLink. So that's really good. Okay. Last questions here. Frankowski. Hey, Frankowski. Good to see you, Derek. I mentioned you in the YouTube episode that just came out today. You're going to love it. I didn't tell you, but you got to watch episode 41. You're going to love it. Derek says, what happens if you have more people accessing the files at the same time? Does it slow down? Yeah, I guess so. We just haven't, it's so new. We don't know what the limit is. We think that as people add more and more features, if you're running on a strong computer like an M4, M3 Ultra, it's possible to have 20 streams playing back. It's possible. We haven't proven that out yet. We're working on proving that out. We're going to add a web page that shows the performance of an M1, an M2, an M3, M3 Ultra, M4, right? We're going to do that. But it's possible to get 10 or 20 streams. If you need more than that, then you just add another machine and Strada will just double your bandwidth or double your encoding seats, right? Also, if you're deburying a raw file in Strada, which we can't do today, but someday we will, and then you want to play back 20 streams of H.265, that's probably not going to work. If you're running Resolve, and then you're running Strada agents in the background, that's going to eat up some cycles. So it's ideal to figure out your configuration that's best, but I think it's really likely to say 5 and 6 streams of playback at the same time is going to be easy for most machines, and that's what we're targeting. Okay, last question. Heyman asks, will you have an app, iOS, that gives Strada agent access to folders on my iPad and iPhone? Yes, we will. And we want to invite you to join Strada, sign up, and you need to come onto the Discord. Pete put that message in the Discord. We want you to join the Discord and yell at us to build that iOS and iPad app. We listen to our customers, and if our customers write their problems and their requests and their needs in Discord, it helps us prioritize them. We want to hear from you. We're building this in public. We are relying on our customers and the community to give us feedback, and we need your feedback to help us get it right. And so if you're not in the product and using it, then we're not going to build the features you want. So we want to hear from you, and we invite you all to join. Okay, that was an awesome morning. Very exciting, very fun. Thanks, everybody, for joining me on YouTube, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. It's a triple threat. And it's always good to talk to you all. We will have this recording available. If you like this, tell your friends and colleagues to come next week. We do this every single Tuesday. And I know this information. I don't need to do this. I'm doing it for you. So on Tuesdays, tell your friends. You can sign up. They can show up on our YouTube Live every Tuesday. Or we're on Zoom too. There's 4. We have 4 things. I forget. Zoom, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can see us on Tuesdays, and we want to invite you to sign up for the product, try the product, and come to our future webinars. That's it for today. I'm tired. I need a Red Bull. I'll see you all later. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.